Hello everyone, it's been a couple days since Yuki released in Chaos Zero Nightmare. She is the second banner character and the first seasonal update character being introduced in the game. She's been pretty hype and most of the people who started since launch have enough pool resources to get her. But is she worth it? Not gonna lie, I have been seeing a lot of discussion around her saying that she is really underwhelming or that she needs to be buffed. And there's some truth to it, to be honest. Fair disclaimer that I'm not a hardcore tryhard whale with maxed out characters. I'm a very casual F2P player. I did not have any order DPS characters like Luke or Hugo before Yuki released, and I really liked her design as well as deck potential. So I pulled her at E0. And in this video I'll try to go over her kit, potential build, teammates, dupes, etc. to try to look at her value right now objectively and then share my own opinions subjectively. So without further ado, let's get started. First things first, Yuki's core mechanism is inspiration. This mechanism activates whenever you draw out a card with this keyword using another card or skill. Cards drawn by default at the start of a turn does not activate this mechanic, and most of Yuki's deck depends on activating this mechanic for her cards. You pretty much always want to play her main attack cards with inspiration activated to use her properly. Yuki is an order attribute AoE damage dealer, but the issue is her damage numbers. The base attack stat is pretty low compared to other tier 0 DPS combatants in the game right now. Although she performs really well in the current dimensional Twilight, which buffs inspiration card damage catering towards her, outside of that she feels pretty mediocre overall since the hardest contents in the game right now are single target boss fights where she does not do well at all. And also the current seasonal chaos doesn't cater to her either, with mainly void weaknesses there, but she needs to farm there to build her best deck, so the problem becomes more apparent. She is not an easy to play casual friendly unit at all. She needs very well tuned deck setup as well as perfectly catered teammates to actually become somewhat good, and that is very time consuming to achieve in this game with lots of farming through RNGs. So yeah. But if you are able to build a fast cycling deck for her where you can spam her AoE skills a lot with a synergistic team, then she actually feels really fun and satisfying to use. The hard part is reaching there. Since her damage numbers are not very high, you do need to build her in a way so you can compensate that by playing more cards, spamming her attacks as much as possible. And now we'll take a look at her cards and epiphanies to see exactly what are the good choices there. Her 3 basic cards. With the newly released info on safe data calculation, let me know if you need a video on that by the way. You should always delete one of them at least. For her, the best one to delete of course is the sealed one. If you can afford to delete a second basic card, it would be the 2 cost one, since the 1 cost basic will be reduced to 0 with inspiration, which is pretty good to keep in your deck. Her best card is this Subdue card, and in my opinion the best epiphany to go for is the 4th one. It can draw 2 attack cards with inspiration and can buff them as well. This is really good. Also, this prepare to subdue card is probably your highest priority to duplicate. Always copy it if you get the chance. Among the other options, I would not choose 3rd and 5th one. 3rd decreases your damage, which you already don't have much anyway, and 5th doesn't give any damage buff, so feels inferior version of 4th to me. 1 and 2 are good situational options as well. 1 can give you more burst damage with a single card big buff, and 2 is good if you can draw multiple of her cards on hand with enough AP to play them all. Next up is Flash Slash. Yuki's primary damage source will be this card most of the time. I'm more of a fan of the second epiphany as it makes the card a 0 cost, although the base damage is lower than the first. But 0 cost means more chances to spam these, so I like that. First one is also a very good choice. It reduces cost by 1 but has higher base damage, which is really good. I would not choose either 3 or 5. Both seem pretty bad for the type of gameplay we want. 4th one is only good if you want to make high number burst damage screenshot gameplay, but is not a consistently good option. Trickery Strike is a card that kinda decides your deck, how you're gonna play. I like the second epiphany the most. Retain Retrieve combo is really good. You can bypass the randomness when you only got 1 card to target, and if not, you can just retain for next turn. This one's really good. I also like 4 for the draw ability. You always want to draw cards with Yuki. 1 and 5 are kinda situational choices in my opinion. 5 is just a damage card but is 0 cost with inspiration. Similarly with 1, although it can activate inspiration on a targeted card, our primary goal is to activate the inspirations via drawing them out, so it loses its value to me. 3 is very debatable. It looks really good on paper, but it doesn't do any damage and is a skill and only becomes useful if you have a otherwise bad deck with very low draw potential to activate inspirations that way. If you have good draws, you don't need this card at all. Freezing Blade is our upgrade card with some good epiphany options. I think 2 and 3 are best options here. In my opinion, 2 is my first choice and 3 second. The initiation keyword was previously called Outbreak of War. This card always appears on turn 1. It being 0 cost, this card is really OP and high priority for making copies as well. And third one is OP against single target enemies, so it is the preferred choice for that. 1 and 4 are the next big choices. Both are good options as well for increased damage output, but they do cost 1. 5th is the worst choice here. If you have to choose it, it's better to reset and build your deck again. Her final card, Iceberg Cleave, has no epiphanies. I am not the biggest fan of this card. The damage decrease on inspiration was unnecessary in my opinion. They literally did this to put it on her first dupe. It's so scummy. But it's a 1 cost, so not really much to think about. Her ultimate ego skill costs 5 EP and does AoE damage. It's again not a high damage multiplier and is very conditional to make it really useful. If you have attack cards on hand with inactive inspiration and you also have the skills to draw cards, then you can first use this ult and then use the draw cards to draw them out again for the best result. As for any neutral cards to add to your deck when building her save data, high priority to any low cost, preferably 0 cost cards with draws. Like this Forbidden card is literally built for her in the new season Chaos. So get this if you can, and any other similar neutral cards would be fantastic for her deck. Same thing for her best equipments. It's all can be farmed in the new Chaos. Her best attack item in my opinion is this one, and a close second is this one. The first one gives plus 35% to all cards and the second gives plus 50% to that card. So I like the first one more. The best in slot health item has to be this one, no questions. The defense item is a bit more flexible from here. I like both of these too. Also, this defense item on your support unit in the team would be a really good options for your team building. We have some straightforward options for our partner. If you pulled her signature, yes, then she is the best, but there's absolutely no need for pulling, cause Lillian is also goated on her and she is free. Most of Yuki cards will be 0 or 1 cost, so she synergies perfectly with Lillian's passive, and Lillian's ego skill also draws cards. She is perfectly fitted for her. I think a fully duped Lillian with the max tax is even better than 0 dupe postmark. Yuki's potential tree should be prioritized as follows. No need to upgrade the basic and common card nodes, upgrade the unique card nodes as well as the crit nodes, and always unlock the passive upgrade nodes whenever you can. For her best in slot memory fragments, I think you can go 3 different ways. My favorite ones are the 4+2 sets. A 4 set order boost plus 2 set attack boost, or the 4 set crit damage boost plus 2 set attack boost are the best options for her. Both are great choices, and the third one is a 2-2-2 set with the 2 set attack boost, 2 set crit damage boost, and any other 2 set or even non-set fragments. The main stat priorities for slot 4, 5 and 6 are crit rate, order damage and attack percent. Although I have to mention, it's not easy to achieve very high crit rates in this game, so in general attack percent boosts are always good for whenever you can on TPSs. So yes, for similar reasons your substats priorities should be attack percentage, crit rate, crit damage and then order damage, etc. I have not pulled above E0, so I'm not gonna talk much on our dupes. E1 is good of course, but I'm mad because they intentionally nerfed the card to put it as a dupe buff, so it doesn't feel good. E2 looks good as well, and from my research people with this dupe do say they find it useful, but it's not any game breaking dupe that is a must have either for her to work. E4 and E6 work with this newly introduced buff Sword Dance to buff her damage a bit more, but it's already whale territory and I'm not sure if that damage boost makes it worth at all given her base damage is already low to start with. If you are a whale and you got her maxed, let us know below in the comments. Lastly, her team building. We need to keep 2 things in mind. Although Yuki is a DPS, her sole damage output is not exceptionally good for her to be the sole DPS carry for your team. So it's a really good idea to have a secondary DPS unit or even have Yuki as the sub DPS in your team. And the other part is that you definitely want teammates that can draw cards so that you can activate the inspiration on your Yuki cards. Currently the best performing or most popular team I see is Yuki plus Veronica plus Mika. Veronica is such a good unit for almost all team comps. She is the best sub DPS flex slot with absurdly high utility in any team. And she can draw cards. Her repose card with any of the first 3 epiphanies and Sarkowalski 3rd epiphany is so good for Yuki. Mika is there for sustain if you need it, but can be replaceable with Nia, who's a more draw focus support. Cassius is also definitely a good choice for more draw power in your team deck and deck cycling, although note that Yuki plus Cassius plus Nia is not as easy as it looks. You will have a lot of draw power and fast deck cycle, but cycling actually useful cards and managing AP efficiently would not be that easy. That's why we are seeing more teams with either one of them alongside Yuki, plus another sub DPS with some draw ability. Beryl can also work here, especially if you got Guilty Pleasure Epiphany 3 and dupes of that. That is all about Yuki from my side. She does not look like a tier 0 unit to me right now, especially because of her higher requirements of setup needed to bring out her highest potential and not much game content where she can shine the most. I personally am not a huge tier list Andy, so I don't care that much. Her playstyle once you have a good deck and team seems really fun and interesting, and I love her design. That's all that matters. Every character in this game seems to be useful with a good deck and a synergistic team. It all depends on that. Sometimes you will have a broken build by the end of a run, and sometimes it's gonna suck. That's how it goes. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you pulled for her, what's your experience, or if you are still deciding. In any case, please do like and subscribe if this was useful for you, and I hope to see you again in future. Goodbye.